Imagine this, dear seeker. A quiet riverside temple. The smell of incense in the air. Bells ringing softly at dawn. And in the middle of it all stands a young priest, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, suddenly collapsing into uncontrollable tears. Not silent tears. Not dignified tears. But sobs so deep they shake his body, cries that sound like someone whose heart is breaking open. He rolls on the temple floor, laughs one moment, weeps the next, speaks aloud to an unseen presence, calling out, "Mother! Mother!" as if someone is standing right in front of him. The villagers stop. The priests whisper. His family panics. Something is wrong with him, they say. No sane man behaves like this. Doctors are summoned. Remedies are suggested. Marriage is proposed as a cure. Because what else could this be, dear seeker, except madness? And yet, this same man would later be regarded as one of the greatest spiritual masters India has ever known. The same man would awaken saints, scholars, skeptics, and transform ordinary lives with a single sentence. So here is the uncomfortable question, dear seeker. When someone loves God so fiercely that the rules of society fall away, when their inner world burns brighter than the outer one, when devotion becomes more real than food, sleep, or reputation, how do we judge that? By the standards of the crowd? Or by the fruits of the soul? History is filled with mystics who were first mocked, then feared, then worshipped. But Ramakrishna's story forces us to look at something deeper. What if what the world calls madness is sometimes a mind freed from illusion? What if sanity itself depends on what you believe is real? Stay with this story, dear seeker, not to glorify extremes, but to understand a profound truth, because one day, even sincere love, deep faith, or radical truthfulness may make you look strange to the world. Dear seeker, before the world knew him as a saint, before history wrapped his name in reverence, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was spoken of in hushed, uneasy voices as the mad priest of Dakshineshwar. This is where the confusion begins. Picture it clearly, a sacred temple meant for orderly rituals, disciplined chanting, predictable devotion, and in that space stands a man who refuses to behave predictably. He cries not because life has hurt him, but because God feels absent. He laughs not at jokes, but at an invisible sweetness filling his heart. He ignores the clock, forgets hunger, forgets the watching eyes, because something far more powerful has seized his attention. To the modern mind, trained to trust psychology more than prayer, this looks alarming. To the villagers, it looks dangerous. To his family, it looks tragic. He has lost balance, they say. Too much worship has damaged his mind. But here is the tension, dear seeker, the same society that praises obsession with money, status, and desire panics when someone becomes obsessed with God. No one calls a man mad for ruining his health chasing success, yet a man who forgets himself in divine longing is immediately suspect. Ramakrishna's behavior disturbed people not because it was meaningless, but because it challenged their deepest assumptions, that God must be distant, controlled, respectable, and safe. His devotion was none of these. It was raw. It was consuming. It was embarrassing to witness. And so the label madness became a shield, protecting the world from a reality it did not know how to face. This is why his story matters, dear seeker, not to shock, not to romanticize extremes, but to gently ask a dangerous question: who decides what sanity is? Is it the majority? The doctor? The rulebook? Or is sanity measured by how close one comes to truth, love, and freedom? Ramakrishna's early life stands at that uncomfortable edge, where the world's logic ends and a deeper mystery begins. Dear seeker, the crying of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was not ordinary sorrow, nor was it emotional weakness. It was something far more unsettling to witness, a hunger of the soul that refused to be quiet. Day after day, standing before the image of Mother Kali, he felt an unbearable ache, as if his heart were stretching beyond its limits. He did not want symbols, rituals, or comforting beliefs. He wanted her. Not tomorrow. Not in theory. But now. When the vision did not come, his entire being rebelled against patience. Tears poured out without warning. His voice cracked as he cried aloud to the divine, sometimes for hours, sometimes until his body collapsed from exhaustion. To those watching, it looked excessive, irrational, even frightening. They whispered, "Why does he cry like someone who has lost everything?" But dear seeker, that is exactly what it was. He had lost the sense of separation he could no longer tolerate. Imagine being separated from the one thing more real to you than your own breath. Imagine calling out with your whole being and hearing no reply. Would that not break you open? Ramakrishna himself said that the pain of God's separation was sharper than death. His tears were not self-pity, they were the language of love stripped of restraint. Society expects devotion to be calm, controlled, and socially acceptable. But when longing becomes total, the heart does not ask permission from manners. His crying disturbed people because it exposed a truth they were not ready to face, that most of us want God comfortably, at a distance, while Ramakrishna wanted God more than life itself. And so his tears became evidence against him. No sane man cries like this, they said. Yet history would later understand what the crowd could not. When love reaches its extreme, it does not whisper, it weeps, it burns, it overflows. And that overflowing, dear seeker, is often mistaken for madness by those who have never tasted it. Dear seeker, it was not only Ramakrishna's tears that frightened people, it was what happened to his body when devotion overflowed the limits of control. At times, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would lose all awareness of the outer world. His limbs would tremble, his breath would change, his body would sway or fall as though struck by an invisible force. Sometimes he rolled on the ground, sometimes he stood frozen like a statue, and sometimes he entered such deep stillness that people checked whether he was even breathing. To the villagers and temple visitors, this was the final proof. This is madness, they concluded. No normal man behaves this way. But dear seeker, the human body is not merely flesh and bone, it is also a vessel for consciousness. When consciousness is tightly bound to the senses, the body moves in familiar, predictable ways. But when the mind dissolves into intense spiritual absorption, the body no longer obeys social choreography. Ancient yogic texts describe these states clearly. When the ego loosens its grip, the nervous system reacts, sometimes violently, sometimes blissfully. Ramakrishna was not acting, he was overwhelmed. Imagine plugging a fragile lamp into a lightning current. The shaking does not mean the lamp is broken, only that the energy passing through it is immense. Yet society judges by appearances alone. They did not see the peace that followed these states, the clarity that emerged afterward, the compassion that flowed from him once he returned to ordinary awareness. They saw only the loss of control, and control is what the world worships most. Here is the subtle danger, dear seeker. People fear anything that reveals how thin the wall of normality truly is. Ramakrishna's ecstasy exposed the fact that the self we defend so carefully can dissolve in an instant when touched by something greater. And that realization is terrifying to those who rely on routine for safety. So they called it insanity. But time revealed a deeper truth. These states did not break him, they refined him. They did not scatter his mind, they burned away what was false. What the world witnessed as disorder was, in reality, an intense reordering of consciousness. And such transformations, dear seeker, have always frightened those who are not ready to change. Dear seeker, perhaps the most unsettling thing of all was not Ramakrishna's tears or his trances, but the way he spoke to the divine, as though God were not distant, symbolic, or abstract, but standing right before him. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would talk to Mother Kali the way a child speaks to his own mother, complaining, pleading, laughing, even scolding at times. He would say, "Mother, why are you hiding from me?" Or, "Why do you torment me like this?" To those around him, this crossed a line. Crying could be tolerated. Trances could be explained away. But speaking to an unseen presence as if it were physically real felt deeply disturbing. He is imagining things, they said. He is talking to someone who isn't there. And yet, dear seeker, this reaction reveals more about society than about Ramakrishna. The world is comfortable with God as an idea, a concept, a belief system, something discussed safely at a distance. But when someone treats God as an immediate living reality, the distance collapses, and with it, our sense of control. Ramakrishna was not playing a role or performing devotion. His inner world had become so vivid, so alive, that speaking to the divine felt as natural as breathing. Just as two people in love do not need to prove their conversations to outsiders, his communion required no audience. To the rational mind, this looks like hallucination. But spirituality asks a different question: what if perception itself has layers? A radio tuned to one frequency cannot hear another, yet the unseen signal still exists. Ramakrishna's consciousness was tuned elsewhere. And this frightened people because it suggested something radical, that God might not be far away at all. That God might be near, listening, responding. So instead of expanding their understanding, they protected themselves with a label, insanity. But those who sat with Ramakrishna longer noticed something crucial. His conversations with the divine did not make him confused, cruel, or disconnected from others. They made him gentler, clearer, and more loving. And that, dear seeker, is the quiet test that separates delusion from realization. Dear seeker, once fear takes root, the world always tries to fix what it does not understand. And so, when the strange behavior of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa could no longer be ignored, the verdict became firm: something was wrong with him. His family heard alarming reports from Dakshineshwar. Villagers whispered that his mind was breaking. Temple authorities worried about reputation. Bring doctors, they said. Give him treatment. Make him normal again. In their eyes, this was compassion. They were not trying to harm him, they were trying to restore him to what society considers balance. Physicians examined him, searching for illness in the nerves or brain. Others suggested practical solutions, structured routines, discipline, even marriage, believing responsibility would anchor his mind to the world. And so Ramakrishna was married to Sarada Devi, not as a spiritual partner at first, but as a supposed cure. Yet none of this touched the source of what was happening within him. Because, dear seeker, you cannot medicate longing for God, and you cannot anchor a soul that is being pulled by something infinitely greater. Still, this moment in his life is deeply instructive. Not every unusual state is divine, and not every breakdown is a breakthrough. The difference reveals itself over time. Mental illness fragments a person, pulling them into fear, confusion, and isolation. Ramakrishna states, though intense, slowly matured into clarity, compassion, and extraordinary spiritual insight. He did not become lost in himself, he became available to others. His presence healed instead of disturbed. His words steadied instead of confused. And slowly, those who once feared him noticed something undeniable. Whatever this was, it was not destroying him, it was refining him. The doctors failed because they were looking for disease where there was transformation. Society misjudged him because it measures health by conformity. Ramakrishna's life reminds us gently, dear seeker, that true discernment does not rush to label. It watches patiently. It observes the fruits. And in time, truth reveals itself, often long after the crowd has moved on to its next judgment. Dear seeker, time has a way of softening fear and sharpening truth. Slowly, the whispers around Ramakrishna Paramahamsa began to change. The same man once called mad now drew seekers from far and wide. People came not out of curiosity, but because something in his presence calmed their minds and opened their hearts. They noticed that behind the ecstasy and strange states was a rare purity, no greed, no pride, no hidden agenda. His words were simple, yet they struck straight at the core of human confusion. His laughter healed. His silence taught. His love dissolved fear. And then the realization dawned, this was not insanity, but a different kind of sanity altogether. A sanity rooted not in social adjustment, but in truth. Ramakrishna himself described it as God-intoxication, a state where the ordinary sense of I loosens and divine awareness takes the lead. To the world, sanity means fitting in, desiring what others desire, fearing what others fear. But dear seeker, what kind of sanity is it that keeps us restless, dissatisfied, and inwardly empty? Ramakrishna's life revealed a paradox. The closer one moves toward God, the more incomprehensible one may appear to those anchored in appearances. Yet the proof lies in the fruits. His realization did not produce escape or indifference, it produced compassion, wisdom, and a radical inclusiveness that welcomed all paths to truth. This is the crucial lesson for you, dear seeker. Do not chase visions, trances, or dramatic experiences. Those were symptoms, not the goal. The goal is transformation of the heart. Greater love. Greater freedom. Greater clarity. And equally important, do not dismiss sincerity simply because it looks unfamiliar. At the same time, walk with discernment, humility, and balance. The highest spirituality does not break life, it illuminates it. In Ramakrishna, the world eventually recognized something rare. What once looked like madness was in fact supreme sanity in God. A mind freed from illusion, a heart anchored in the infinite. And his life leaves us with a gentle, unsettling question: what if true sanity has always been rarer than we think? Dear seeker, as we come to the end of this journey into the life of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, let us pause, not to admire a story from the past, but to quietly turn inward. Ramakrishna was not sent into the world to be worshipped from a distance. He appeared to remind us of something uncomfortable and beautiful, that a life lived in truth may not always look respectable, and a heart consumed by love may not always look balanced to the crowd. The world once called him mad because he refused to live half-heartedly. He loved God with his whole being, without negotiation, without fear of opinion, without concern for labels. And that kind of love always unsettles those who have learned to survive on compromises. So before we judge the mystic, dear seeker, we must ask ourselves a deeper question: what are we intoxicated by? Is it fear of society, hunger for approval, endless distraction, or something higher that quietly calls us beyond comfort? You do not need to cry like Ramakrishna or fall into trance to learn from him. His message is gentler than that. Be sincere. Be honest. Love deeply. Seek truth without pretending. And when the world misunderstands you for choosing depth over noise, remember, you are in ancient company. If this story stirred something in you, do not let it fade into another passing video. Take one moment now and write a comment below. Tell me, dear seeker, have you ever seen devotion, truth, or sincerity misunderstood as madness, either in others or in yourself? Your reflection may help another seeker feel less alone. And if you wish to continue this journey, let me know what you want to hear next. Do you want the story of Ramakrishna's first vision of Kali, his meeting with Swami Vivekanand, the life of Sarada Devi, or deeper teachings on bhakti, madness, and divine love? Write it in the comments, and we will walk that path together. Until then, stay gentle, stay sincere, and stay open to the mystery that moves the universe. Jai Guru Dev.